Hold this open on this side, you can see some wires running through, and the duct runs up through between the main frame beam and the tank, holding tank, and there is way less room than it seems like it needs to have. It's way less than 4 inches through there, so you have to deform it to get it through. A lot of interference. So what I'm going to do is have a reducer and go to 3 inches for this few feet right here, and then bring it back to 4 inches and put it into the vent. Okay, so I bought some 3-inch air duct, semi-rigid again, just aluminum. So this is 8 feet, so I'm just going to stretch it out here and see if it'll fit into that really tight space with wiring and in between the tank and the frame. It doesn't seem like even this will be able to fit, but I'm going to try where it went. All I have to do is go from there to there. It's like 1.5 feet, but might as well be a mile if it can't fit. Okay, fits through that way. So far so good, at least the first few inches. Okay, not bad. Okay, so I'll just stretch it out a little. Get more length going. Okay, might be close to being through actually. Okay, I was lucky. I got it all the way through, and you can see on this side, what I'm going to do is got this increaser reducer. It goes and fits right in. I'm going to duct tape it in, go right back up to 4 inches all the way to the furnace. That's on that side. And then over here, I was lucky again, and I found a stub length reducer. There's not much room here between the duct here, or the vent, and the black water drain pipe, and luckily this fits right in on that side, so I'm going to duct tape those together and we should be set to go on this side. Alright, so I put the little stubby reducer on, taped it up. I taped the top first and then slid it on, and then secured the top, and then put one more piece along the bottom so I can get all the way around. One other thing I noticed is that there's appears to be a cold water line. It's routed right up against the duct, and then also is resting on the black water drain. So what I'm going to do is raise it up, and I'm going to put some electrical tape around it here. You get to protect it from vibration if you're towing and it's moving. And it's also going to be suspended up off of this metal nut, so it's not wearing itself away. Bring it up. Okay, so now I'm going to attempt to feed this 4-inch back into its home over there, bring it through the frame, and then attach it to the 3-inch with that reducer. So it's going to make some noise. I'm going to do some really rough measurements here, and then cut it, and then try to feed it in. That's not bad. Okay. Tight squeeze. Yeah. It's not as big up at the top. I can feel it. Gotta cut it bigger. Okay, here I am topside, and this is the slot that all the ducts go through. And remember, I was trying to push that new 4-inch through and it wouldn't go. So I just discovered here there was a piece of trim there. I just took all the screws out, pried it out. There. This isn't quite fitting right for the 4-inch, so I might have gotten a reducer when I should have gotten an increaser, but they didn't have the other one, so I was kind of forced. So what I'm doing is cutting little notches in here. So I'm going to fold the edge in and have it be a little lead in, hopefully a little ramp, so I can slide it into the duct. Not sure how this is going to work. So these are okay to come in after the heater is installed, but that one I don't think is. I think we need to do that one first, and then once that one's done and run, then we can install the heater and see if it works. So I'm going to come over here. Some nest material that just blew all the way through, so who knows what that's made out of. Toilet paper maybe, fur. I think I should pull it through this way because I have more cleaning area. Oh, there we go. It's kind of coming out. Oh, look at that. That's why I'm replacing this whole thing. You see this? Chewed through, and that's where the nest was. A lot of trailers have a false wall here to block access to the delicate stuff like the pipes back there. So that's where this duct is running. Open this up. Yeah. So that's a nice little backyard they had. There we go. Okay, that's half of it. All right, let's get rid of this. So before I throw this away, I figured it'd be smart just to make life easy on myself and measure it. I'm going to give myself an extra 1.5-ish so I can just compress to the length I need. I'll just come over here and cut it. But for right now, it's the easiest way. That wasn't so bad. It occurred to me why it was so easy is because I'm using a really fine tooth hacksaw blade. So I looked here and it was actually a 32 teeth per inch. So anything more than that, all it's going to do is catch on such a thin wall, especially aluminum. So just a tip. Also, as I suspected, they cut the hole just big enough for the cheap foil duct, not big enough for the semi-rigid. So I'm going to have to open up the hole here and the hole in the middle probably, and the hole on the other end. Okay, I wanted to show you this vent too. So I think the mice were pretty smart. They chewed through just enough. You can see on the bottom here, there's a really sharp edge, and they were tired of getting scratched, so they just chewed it so it wasn't sharp anymore. They deburred it, and I think they might have been able to get through. I mean, that's a pretty decent sized hole, the one at the bottom here. You can see in there, got it run, and I ran that extra 1.5, but then I just recompressed it right there, so when I want to take that out again, I can. It just will stretch out. I had to open up all these holes. I had to open up that hole there, and then string it through, and each hole was like really tight, so I had to like kind of inchworm it through. That hole there, I actually had to open up this fuse box and circuit breaker and just pull it back a little bit with the power off, of course. Reach my hand in, guide it through, because there was a bunch of wires back there that I had to thread through, and then open that hole up, and then finally I got it all the way through. Got these wires stripped, and I'm going to hook them up to the ones I pre-made. So I got blue and white and blue stripe, which is a white. We got red and yellow. Okay, so those are ready to go. Now I'm just going to slide this in. I'm probably going to tack this up to the top with a zip tie, the ceiling up here. I got it in, obviously, and then I shifted it all the way over to the wall. Got a couple cuts in the process, but always wear gloves, guys. Right now it's shifted way over, and it's not aligned with the entry and exit tubes. So I did that because I wanted to get as much space as possible to run this in and fasten it with the hose clamp. I hope when I scoot it back it's just going to deform into place. I'm just going to move it a little. Yeah, it looks like it's moving. Okay, and now comes the tough part. I have to align it with those tubes. So I'm just going to probably turn off the camera and swear a little bit and then show you when it's done. I finally just got that in. It goes right up against the wall. Hooked up the gas line again, and I'm going to test for leaks obviously later with some soapy water. Actually, it was kind of cool that I put it in and mounted it fastened it when it was out way out here, a few inches out, because it kind of like collapsed nicely. So it wasn't that much of a bend when we were done with it all. But so I'm going to tie those wires up to the ceiling with just a zip tie, so they don't sit there and bounce. One thing I wanted to mention, a couple things. One is to get the tube to line up with this fitting, this housing right here. Not easy, because you're doing it blind. So it was a little bit low. So I took a mini Wonder Bar and I just shoved it under the heater as I was pushing it in, and just try to equalize it. Came back here, checked it. Okay, it was at the right level this way, up and down. And then I pushed it back and forth until it was aligned back to front. And then it still wasn't aligned because it might have been at an angle. So what I did was I took this wooden dowel and I put it in there and I kind of just jiggled it up. And I wanted it to be wooden and weak so it wouldn't damage that plastic pipe. And I tried it with both. And if you put enough tension on it, or compression, what happens is you can force it past that lip just a little bit. Now it's sitting on the lip, and then you can go inside and jiggle it in place. So that seemed to work really well. I turned the gas on and ran a leak check with my soapy water here. I forgot to film it, but no, there was a leak, but I tightened it up and it stopped it. So I think we're all ready to make a test. Turn this on with the new wiring, the new thermostat wires. And heat. Okay. Oh, that's a good sign. Okay, blower's working. Well, let's see if the heat goes on. Oh, I heard it. Okay, heater's working. And the new duct I just put in, hot air's coming out of that, even though all of these are open. And hot air's definitely coming out of all these. So it's working good. I smell that normal musty heater smell that you always smell after you've not started it for a while. That's normal, I think. Oh, but out here I see pieces. Yeah, that's all the pieces of the nest that actually burned up a little bit. I cleared most of them by just kind of like tipping the heater back and forth with gravity. But there are a few more in there that are being blown out right now. And there's just a simple one that rotates here, just like the old one. These slats are still pretty far apart, so probably be okay, but what I figured I'd do is take some of this stainless steel mesh and make a cage, just in case one of them wants to get in and chews through or whatever. Cut a circle with a hole in it, put it right in between, so you sandwich it and it holds itself in. We'll cut in my hole. I'm not sure I'm going to do the center yet, but cutting around here is not too hard. You just got to keep the distance away from the rotation point really far, because if you go all the way in here, for some reason it just like mashes it instead of cuts it. And that might be, you know, this tool might be old, but this seems to be working okay. It's going to guide it around. Sure how to get this started with this center hole. I could just cut a slit through and then go around, but I want to keep it intact, so I'm going to try to start it with this Dremel tool. We'll see. The quick cutoff wheel. Might just grab it out of my hand. Pretty tough stuff. There. So now I've started it. And it can be, I guess it can be pretty messy because again, no one sees it. It's in the middle. Yeah, that's my cat. There he goes. Hopefully searching for more mice. All right. So put this in the middle without cutting myself. Put it in there, and now it's just trapped in there, and you know, you won't be able to see it. Just comparing the spacing between these vent louvers, and as you can see, the new one's a lot closer spacing, so I think we'll be okay, but I'm still going to leave that screen in there.